Hey, I'm Anji Ismail. My initial yes are AI, but this show called the AI Drop is not about me. It's about artificial intelligence. So I invite the best founders and builders to tell us their challenges and their success while they are building the next wave of application that is going to change the world. Make sure to follow the show so you get notified when we have a new episode. Comment, share. I really appreciate it. It's not my full-time job. I'm actually the founder of a company called Fint, where we apply AI to finance. I hope you enjoy the episodes. Let me know what you think. David, it's great to have you. You know, we are both in Miami, and it's funny, because we are recording this while we are like 15 minutes away. But
Exactly.
the goal is to spend some good time together. And I know this episode is going to be very spicy. You don't keep your stuff for yourself. You actually saying what you have in your head. So I love that.
That's the brief of the podcast, right? It's called the drop, the AI drop. So let's drop, right? Let's drop bombs.
Boom.
Let's drop some truth.
Let's drop stuff that we have in mind. Exactly. So hey,
Let's do
David,
it.
you have multiple hats. I love your background is crazy. So you are both a founder, former employee of Google. You are also a professor, like a teacher in one of the best university and school in the US. So just tell me, who are you, David? Like you're so many people.
Yeah, as much as life can be told, which is a kind of a hard mission, something hard to do. But I'm first and foremost the founder of a startup called Submarine.ai that uses AI to help luxury and beauty brands identify trends in social media data. So that's
Nice.
my main job. As you said, I worked for Google in New York, where I was a data analyst in charge of luxury, beauty, and fashion clients. So I've been
Makes sense.
analyzing data for luxury brands and for consumer brands for a while. And I've always been a professor on the side of my work. And for the last 10 years, I've taught luxury marketing and strategy. And as you said in your intro, I'm currently an adjunct professor at NYU, where I teach graduate students topics around luxury and marketing, luxury and data, luxury and disruption, some topics that we might talk about together later and that I found fascinating.
Yeah, so I will call you Mr. Professor going forward. I love that title.
I like it. Yeah,
No, it's great. It's
professor.
great
I like
that
it.
you wear so many hats, and I see the correlation now between what you were doing at Google and what you are doing right now with Submarine. So we're gonna just spend a little bit of time really quickly on that Submarine thing. But before we get into it, like tell me, are you more Hermes or Balenciaga?
Oh, that's a good question. So for me, what got me into luxury is not specifically like I'm not like a big customer of luxury brands. I mean, I have a
Okay.
few things from luxury brands. I buy luxury from time to time.
Okay.
But what I'm really passionate about is more the business of luxury.
Okay.
How luxury brands can create this magic way of communicating, of doing service, of doing retail that will make people pay much more for their product, that would create an emotional connection with their audience and their clientele, and so on and so forth. So that's what got me into luxury. So I would say, as a consumer, I'm more, let's say, Hermes, which is more classical, traditional luxury, than Balenciaga, which is going to be more, fashion and more creative in many ways. But I must say, in terms of strategy, I have a lot of admiration and around the strategy of Balenciaga, just as I have for Hermes. And I think, if we're going to talk about AI together today, I think there's a lot that AI can learn from luxury in terms of marketing and in terms of branding. There's nothing
So
that
you mean AI can learn, like the models can learn from how luxury brand have been growing? Is that what you mean by AI can learn from luxury tactics, etc.?
yeah, look at the marketing of the biggest AI companies in the world. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
marketing of OpenAI. They've
Yep.
spent million in this TV spot during the Super Bowl event,
Yeah,
which
that's cool.
most of the people are still. I mean, it's cool if you're in this domain in the industry, but most of the people were wondering, what did I just see? What
Yeah, yeah.
what are those little dots moving on the screen? So, whereas similar, if you take Anthropic, they have this billboard campaign everywhere in Miami, everywhere in the US. You have those billboards written Claude. So first, if you're not French, nobody knows how to pronounce this Claude. Nobody knows what it evokes. And if you're French, you think it's just the name of your great uncle or
Yeah.
something like that. Whereas, in luxury, every marketing campaign, every billboard, every ad, every name of a product is very intentional, has a lot of story and emotional connection behind. So I think, maybe as AI is going to become more competitive and bigger and have a more mass audience, maybe they should learn a things or two from
Things
from
from.
luxury brands.
So one thing, I mean, I didn't want to launch you right now, but like one brand in AI space who have gone their marketing wrong, and it's weird because it's probably where most of the luxury brand are coming from is Mistral, right? We also this Le Chat logo on the CNBC where they use the brand or the logo from a detergent brand that used to be very famous in France 20 years ago. And instead of using Le Chat, the AI assistant from Mistral, they used Le Chat, the detergent. So what do you think about the marketing of AI from French companies more specifically?
It's very sad. Just like you, I would love to have a French champion. I root for France. I root for Europe. I wish we had, like a leader in AI, and we have some good companies. Hugging Face is doing a great job. Dataiku is doing a great job. We have a lot of interesting players in France. This specific example that you're mentioning, where there was this big news channel in the US, for once they talk about a French AI startup and they get the wrong logo. It's terrible. I think, generally speaking, there is a problem of naming in and branding in AI. It's not just French. I think it's true that Le Chat is probably a very bad name for an LLM. But I think that the names from OpenAI are not much better. If you compare GPT 4.5 to O1 to O1 Pro to O3 Mini to O3 Mini High, who knows what AI are you going to select?
Yeah.
What do they mean? It's written. One is written. This one is the best for text, and this other one is great for code. But this other one is greater for code or whatever. It's super confusing. So I must say, it's true. We can laugh all day long that Le Chat is not a good name for an AI, but the other one don't have great names as well. It feels like this is technical marketing. Like it feels like we're still in the world of open source, in the world of Linux, and in the world of open source software, where you add, a name and then you add 2.3.4 at the end, and that's your marketing.
The version.
The version. So it sounds very technical. I think, if you want to reach a mass audience and speak not just to the minds of people, but also to their hearts, to create an emotional connection with your brand, we're going to need a bit better than that.
Yeah, I mean, like Louis Vuitton could do Le Bag or Le Sac 1 and Le Sac 2 and Le Sac 3.3. That would be fun to see if they ever do that. But talking about...
That's a great example, NG. If you look at the naming of luxury products, they take a name that's going to become a legend.
Yeah, like the name of an artist or of a singer.
Look at the most famous Hermes bag, the Birkin.
Yeah.
The Birkin handbag is much more famous than Jane Birkin. Most people today don't know who
Jane Birkin, yeah.
They don't know much about her.
Yeah.
Or the Kelly. We know Grace Kelly, but most people, the young people,
especially this new generation,
new generation, but the name is legendary. A Kelly, a Birkin. You have many examples, like the story of the Reverso watch from Jaeger-LeCoultre, that's from the polo players in the 19th century. They root their naming in a legend and in a story. While AI, it looks like they randomly pick a name. Maybe they brainstorm 5 minutes, maybe, or they ask ChatGPT. I don't know who picked the name.
But like that's a problem actually. Like if you look at AI teams, right, they are built by great entrepreneurs, not even entrepreneurs, sometimes researchers that are becoming entrepreneurs and great engineers, but they don't have obviously the sales and marketing tactics that they need to build brands. And this is where people like you and me, hopefully, we come in and build our own startup and our own stuff. And actually talking about great branding, I really love. You see, so it's a French podcast here. We have words that are going to come out of my mouth, not with a great accent. It's okay. You keep listening. You love it. Wait, like I'm talking about your own startup. You have this great domain that is Submarine.ai. I'm going to show it right now because I think you did a very good job at picking that, especially when you think about marketing and branding, where it's most trends are under the water. Like you don't see them coming and boom, they resurface and now you see everywhere the same thing. So for brands, I imagine capturing the trend before they are even out there, it's very important. So I really love that Submarine name that you have.
Yeah, thanks. I think one of the quotes that inspired me when I launched Submarine is this quote from the former CEO of Unilever, who used to say that data makes your briefcase heavy, but insights make you rich. And it's true, another way to look at this is to think that, data is plentiful. You can find as much data as you want by scraping the web, by looking at your own internal data, your retail data, the data you collect in your store, your analytics from your websites and your apps. There's an abundance of data. What's interesting is how can you transform those data points into an insight? So something that a marketer, an executive, a CEO can act on, can take a business decision that will drive their business further, that will help them connect with their consumers, and so on and so forth. And so the goal of Submarine is that today brands, they're swimming in an ocean of data. There are
Okay.
millions of content on social media, and Submarine dives into this data and try to help them find insights.
Okay. No, that's make perfect sense. And I mean, one question, of course, that everybody get asked when we build in the AI space is like, we have deep search now. Either like Perplexity launched it, and of course, OpenAI also launched it very recently. So, how do you think? So we saw that AI brands are not good at marketing, but they're good at gathering data from everywhere. So, what would you say make a product like Submarine AI? And I don't say that you have the same technology. And we're going to talk about the fact that you are a solopreneur and there's all this good stuff around it. But what do you think that these big research centers that are OpenAI, Mistral, Deep Search, DeepSeek, sorry, they don't get, and that you could bring to the brands with your product?
Yeah, I think, we are at a specific moment in time where, you have different circles in AI. I think it's interesting to look at it in terms of circles. You have, the center of the circle, people who are AI builders who can read and maybe write research paper on AI. Then, you have a little further from the center, people who can build in AI, maybe not do the research, but they can apply the research and build some stuff. Then you have people who cannot build, but kind of understand how it works. And you go further and further, and you have at the very end, people who know nothing about AI. I think that today, when we think about most companies, they're very far from the center. You are at the heart of the AI world. You read the research paper, you know the latest models. And even you and I, we're not at the very, very center because
Yeah,
we're not writing the research paper. We're still reading it and trying to make sense. But yet, we know what GPT means in ChatGPT, but we don't know what are the 5 other technologies and why GPT is better than the 4 others. So that's our level. Brands, they're much further than that. We're at a stage where brands in general, and more specifically luxury brands, beauty brands, consumer good brands, who are not experts in AI, they need some handholding. They need someone to guide them in AI. And I think there is a level on Submarine, which is a level, of features that have been developed in order to answer some specific needs from those clients that would be very hard to address with generalist models. The thing is that ChatGPT or Anthropic or Claude or DeepSeek, they can do anything. But when you're a marketer and you're in front of the black box and you don't know what to type, you think like AI can do anything you want. Okay, but what do I want? I have no idea what I want to do with it. So we're at this moment where, right, we need vertical, like specific use cases for different verticals. We need handholding. We need a layer of service. We need also to add a layer of expertise. ChatGPT knows everything, but it doesn't know anything specific about luxury, about the specific needs of creative marketers, and so on and so forth. If you prompt it right, and if you prompt it 100 times, you might end up getting the right solution. But as of today, it is much easier to take a solution that's bespoke, that's been made bespoke to solve your challenges when you're a luxury marketer, rather than the generalist model. Now, I hear what you're saying. I think today there's no more moat. Today you don't have an 18-month moat. For nobody, it doesn't exist. So today I'm doing this with Submarine, but Submarine is always, there is this concept I like of strategic flexibility. So I'm always looking, how is the technology evolving? How are the needs of my audience evolving? And if I need to go in another direction, because at some point ChatGPT can do 90% of what I do today, I'll go into the next part and I'll be at the vanguard of what's helpful to my clients. So you have to be a lot of strategic flexibility if you want to remain relevant.
Yeah, I love that. Like the agility you're talking about is key, right? Like, because every time we build something, the soil that we're building on top is moving, right? And the goalposts are moving, and everything right now in AI is moving as fast as we can build. So to stay relevant, you have to have this flexibility you're mentioning, and also you need to bring that to your end customers. So I agree.
And the speed is crazy. I'm sure you've we're in March right now. We're March the 6th. Just like 3-4 months ago, it was, the 12th day of Christmas from OpenAI, where they announced O1 Pro and the like $200 version with deep search. Then we had the Stargate project, where the American government said we're going to put $500 billion into AI. A few weeks ago was Grok 3. We had DeepSeek. Like, things are moving so fast.
Very fast.
Guy who's going to tell you I can predict what's going to happen in the next 18 months or 2 years, he's a liar, because like there's no way we know what's going to happen in 2 weeks.
And that's
Yesterday they announced the new agents from OpenAI. That are going to be maybe $20K a month to have like a new
for the PhD,
kind of agent.
and
it's crazy. It's impossible to predict. So just if we're talking, we're between builders. You're a builder, I'm a builder. So, let's build as best as we can right now. Let's do as good as we can. Let's try to make money as long as we haven't been all replaced by robots. And then
I
we'll
love
see in the
that.
future, we'll find something.
Yeah. And this is definitely like one of the advantage that we have as small companies or even solopreneur, like you're solo, you're running this solo. So I think compared to big incumbents that have innovation dilemma where like they are sitting on top of a lot of money, they are making, hundreds of millions on business models that are already established, and they have their team, right? They have sometime, I don't know, like for the biggest, they have 150, 200,000 employees. So how do you manage, how do you navigate those big boats instead of the submarine that are super agile, that go beyond the water, and they can, I'm dropping again the brand here. But so wanted to come back on this. You're running that solo, and there is this big saying in Silicon Valley everywhere that we are going to see very soon the 1% $1 billion company. So do you believe that's possible? Is that what you're aspired doing, or do you think it's just bullshit, it's just some hype? How do you see that, like this idea of running everything with agents, with contractors, but just running the show like a one-man orchestra, if you want?
Right. I think tech has always been about leverage. I think even before tech, if you take in ancient Greece, Archimedes said that if you give him a big enough lever, he could lift the entire world. So this notion of finding a tool that's going to be a leverage and that's going to multiply your effort and your strength and help you to reach results that can be 10x, 100x, 1000x what you would have without the tech is something that we've been running after for a long time in tech. If we take even the definition, what is a startup? A startup, is a temporary organization in search of a business model that's repeatable and scalable. Scalable, is meaning finding leverage. So, you have different kind of leverage. Money can be a leverage. If you have a lot of money, you can buy companies and make a bigger company. Outsourcing or delegating to people can be a leverage. If you hire a lot of people, suddenly you can do a lot of other things. But now tech has always been a leverage. But now with AI, this leverage is a million times bigger and more efficient than when we had before. So let's take an example. I know you've used it and I've used them as well. But if there's one person in the audience who haven't tried the AI agent, coding agent tools, think about Cursor, think about Lovable, think about Bolt, Windsurf, all those good companies. Try them just once and look what one person who's curious enough to invest a bit of time and energy to exploring them, who's not afraid about technology, look at what one person can do with one of those tools is the equivalent of a whole team just a few months ago. And now think about it. It's just the beginning of those tools. Imagine those tools in 6 months, in 5 years, in whatever. It's going to be crazy. So I don't know if the number is going to be 1%, 1 billion. It's a marketing claim. It sounds good, the 1%, $1 billion company. Maybe if you look at it, Telegram is a 30% company and they're making multi-billions.
Yeah.
They're already, in this world.
Super profitable.
Bolt, Lovable, all those companies, there are a few dozens people and they're making in the tens of millions of ARR, so they already have a lot of leverage with technology. Maybe to give you one example, for me, a lot of the things I do at Submarine is analyzing data. So, you do entity recognition, sentiment analysis, trend recognition, pattern recognition, and so on and so forth. I remember when I was doing this at Google, we needed a team of 10 people. We needed special servers and special scripts and resources to do it. It would take us weeks and weeks to do just for instance, to transform a video into a transcript. That used to be extremely complex. Like voice recognition in a video used to be super complex. Now, you can do it for free with an open source AI from Hugging Face with one line. You call an API in one line, you plug it in your system, and now you do it from your kitchen alone. You're not even wearing pants, and you're doing like crazy stuff. So the leverage that those tools are giving you is unprecedented. And for me, that's super exciting.
No, I love that. I mean, it's what I believe as well, like small teams or even solo person. I think people need to be at least, with some strategic partners in some way, either contractors or, just partner you build with. It can be your customer if you are really willing to build strong relationship with them. But definitely the organization itself can be much smaller because you can leverage, as you said, like all these technologies. So I think we're going to see it. We're going to see 50 million 1% company and then 100 million 1% company. 1 billion, I think it's still out of reach, but super, super interesting to see. And so let's talk about this topic. Now, I know you were at Google, right? So Google is very big. They have this innovation dilemma. And do you think Google, specifically this company, because they have all the data they want, they have the search products, they have YouTube, hello YouTube algorithm, AI drop is here.
Yeah, maybe
But
maybe
like,
now's a good moment to tell people to give a like, share,
yeah,
comment,
like, share,
subscribe to the
comment.
channel. Like all the influencers do.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I will recommend that. Do it. Like, I think it's under here or under there anyway. But so for Google, for example, like, do you think you've seen it from internal, and sometimes Google have been criticized to be slow movers, while they can, with everything they have, the cash they have and the strategic position they have, they could be moving much forward. So is it a risk for companies like them to be completely irrelevant in 5 years because everybody's going to search on Perplexity and on ChatGPT rather than going to Google? What do you think about that? Like, because of do they still have so much leverage as you were mentioning?
I wouldn't be too quick to bury a company like Google. They're not dead yet, very far from
Yeah,
it.
far from that. Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because I still own a lot of Google shares. So it's in my interest that Google continue to grow, and I wish them well. So I would not say it's the end of Google. I would not say Google is not relevant anymore. It's a rich company with a lot of money, full of very talented people, a lot of engineers, with a lot of resources, patents, with a lot of technology, servers. They're investing in the future of quantum computing. They're doing some R&D in AI. They have, I think, now 8 or 9 different platforms that have more than 1 billion users, from Google Search to Gmail to Waze to Google Maps to the ad exchange and so on and so forth. So I would say it's still a great company. They have a lot of potential. But it's true that for the first time in their history, we can now imagine a future where we don't use Google every day of our
Yeah.
lives. Whereas while
That's
this was
crazy.
impossible to imagine
Yeah.
just a few months ago,
Never. Yep.
I could imagine not Googling anymore. Actually, I think I haven't Googled in the last probably week. I've been using Perplexity if I have to search for something. I've been using ChatGPT if I had like a specific question. I've been using Deep Search from
Google Maps,
I'm
maybe.
yeah. So
Not even.
so
Yeah.
I'm still using Gmail and Google Maps, but
Yeah, of
I could
course.
imagine using something else. Like I've tried Proton Mail. I think Proton Mail is as good as Gmail,
Yeah.
more or less. You have to pay a little bit, but I don't mind. I'm sure there could be another map app. I think maybe the moat of Google, the one that would be the hardest to replace for now, might be YouTube, because it's true that for me, that's one of the apps that I use the most. They still have an impressive network of creators, including you, Angie. Now you're joining them. Welcome. Thanks to you, maybe you're going to save YouTube. But the same, imagine a future where there's so much content that is AI generated that Google search results are completely flooded by AI generated
Irrelevant.
content.
True.
YouTube videos are flooded by AI generated content, which is kind of already the case, but it's gonna get only worse. Which brings me, to I think a topic that's very near and dear to your heart as well, which is crypto and blockchain. I think that without the blockchain, the web will be impossible to use, because the blockchain is going to be the cryptographic signature, and the blockchain and NFTs are going to be the only way to identify a content that's actually from the provenance it said it's from, if you're saying it's an NG content or not, from AI generated content. I think luckily we have this technology that might save the internet, or else we're just going to have AI generated content and the internet will be impossible to use.
Impossible, yeah. And I think that's a great point. And I didn't see you coming with that from the content perspective. I would have expected that you mention it from the luxury perspective, where, fake luxury products are already adopting, crypto and NFT type of things and tokenized products to actually know that, okay, this product was actually manufactured by Louis Vuitton. But I agree, there is a lot of opportunities for crypto slash blockchain use case in the web of tomorrow, where everything is AI generated or AI augmented. I think
And
that's good. So
I think it will happen even in the background. We don't even need, I think in the future, people won't have to know that the blockchain is being used and that crypto is being used.
yeah,
I
or
think
of
it will
course,
be
it's just a
included.
tech. Yeah.
Either it will be included in your ISP or in your browser or in your phone
Yeah.
or in your glass or whatever device we're going to use. And let's say you're watching a content. If it has a cryptographic signature, you're just going to watch the video normally. And if there's no signature, maybe it will be surrounded by a red thing, or you'll have an alert. Or maybe the app will refuse to play it without a cryptographic signature or something like that. And I think people will not even know it's the blockchain. So It's going to be a little sad for, crypto fans like us, because you say, well, now's our moment. People are going to recognize the importance of
Oh,
crypto.
it's the
No, they won't
technology.
even
Yeah.
know. They won't even
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They won't even know. But
But
I think it will save the internet. Yeah.
so yeah, one question like I have that I think you might be able to answer. It's more philosophical, maybe, but don't you think that all this AI generated content, AI assisted product, etc. So I'm talking to I know you do boxing, Muay Thai, so we have another thing in common. I know also you're taking some shots. I don't know how you say, like firearms practice. Like, how do you say? Like, do
Yeah,
you
I like to go to the shooting range.
shooting range? Yeah, that's what. So like this is like making us stronger, like this type of interaction, right? Like practicing Muay Thai, being in a good body, in a good brain, meditation, whatever. I feel like all these AI assisted products, either on the Google side, like now you don't have to search, you don't have to make your own judgment on things, you just have to eat whatever ChatGPT is telling you is good. Don't you think this is going to make us very, very soft and very, very weak as human? And we already been, we are much weaker than our ancestors, that they will go like fight the mammoths.
You are
I
much
mean,
weaker than Israel.
I
I'm
don't
much
know.
stronger.
I don't know a lot of people today that can fight mammoths and make fire with their bare hands and few and stone. So I'm thinking maybe we're building this world where we're gonna have Wally, the movie, like where we just sit in big chairs. What do you think about that? Like, do you think it's a risk?
I get it. So I get what you mean. I think there is a risk of becoming, the brain is like a muscle. So if you don't use it, we might lose some capacity. That's true. I think it's a real risk. For me personally, sometime I force myself to write the draft of a text that I'm going to post and not just ask ChatGPT. I force myself to brainstorm without using ChatGPT, because or else it's true that we might lose some capacities. But I think also AI is going to free us from a lot of chores, from a lot of things that we don't want to spend time on it. I think that copy pasting from one Excel document to one PowerPoint document and then transforming it into a PDF and sending it in an email is not fulfilling. So if we
Yeah.
can
No, it's not.
replace all those chores, like there was this author who wrote this book called Bullshit Jobs. So if AI can free us from the bullshit jobs, then all the jobs at some level, they have a bit of bullshit in it. So
Yeah.
if we can free ourselves from copy pasting stupid thing from one document to another and free our mind to do more creative stuff, that would be great. I think, that AI allows us to, now you can not know how to code and develop a software. You cannot know how to draw and you create an artwork. You cannot know how to make music and you create a song. So I think it's true that there's a few risks, but on the other hand, the possibilities of AI seem so limitless and so fulfilling that, net, I would see it as a positive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm a big fan of AI, but I still feel like all these things that are hard to do and sometimes very things that we don't want to do make us stronger. And I feel like we're gonna have a generation of people who just don't do anything hard. And when thing goes bad, like let's say tomorrow we have like electricity, the complete grid goes blackout, right? And everybody will be like, "Oh shit, how do we survive here?" So that's where like I'm still thinking maybe we're building this world where we are even worse humans than we were previously. But I'm still, every day building AI, and I have this podcast about,
Yeah,
making
and
AI even more
yeah,
known.
I think it's a very human fear that you're having. I think that humans throughout history have been afraid of technological revolutions. When
Yeah,
when in the 18th century, 19th
every
century,
time,
or even
all the
like
time.
18th
Yeah,
century in Great Britain, when they invented, those machines that would create fabric. You have this movement called the Luddites. The Luddites were people who would go in the factories at night with big hammers and they
and they
would break
will
the machine
destroy
because they
everything.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, they said the society will not survive if we don't have people in
yeah,
the
sure.
factories
Every
making,
time.
weaving fabrics like that. And in the end, it's rarely the guys who are afraid of the technology with big hammers who win in history. It's usually the
Yeah,
people who think about the future. The same, when the calculators were invented, the old mathematics professors, they would say, "Oh, people won't know how to count anymore, how to do a big multiplication or a division." And it's true. People don't know how to count anymore. They don't know how to do a division or multiplication, but that's fine. They've learned other things. Now they speak 4 languages. They can dance on TikTok. They can create content. They can flip sneakers. They do other stuff that's also very impressive. As a professor, I meet 100 or 200 students per year who are Gen Z. They're young people. they're impressive. They are impressive. They're not impressive in the same sense as we were impressive when we were a kid, but they're impressive in another way. They all have, they are hustlers. They have 5 businesses. They're super surprising, like, so I would not be too worried.
Is there something specific about your student using AI, like especially new generation? So we're already in the older generation, but like, do you see anything that you say, oh shit, this is good? Like, I didn't think we could leverage AI this way.
I tell my students the first day of the semester, not only you can use AI, but use AI as much as you can, as long as you do it in a smart way, because you're here for a learning experience. So don't outsource all the work to AI, but use it in a professional way, in the same way you would use it in a work environment. So be careful about the privacy, double check the answers, and watch out for hallucinations and stuff like that. But I tell them, use it as much as possible. And of course, we have, as professors, you have to adapt the assignments. Now, for instance, I cannot give written assignment anymore. I used to give like an essay. You have like a topic, you do research, and you give back, like an essay of 5-6 pages about this topic. This is useless because I know 100% of the people are going to use ChatGPT to do it. There's no point of asking this. So now, I ask more creative stuff. And let me give you one example. Last semester, so the semester that ended in December, and I precise the dates because, everything is moving so fast in AI.
Yeah.
That just to put you in the context, it was already 3-4 months ago. So it was a whole other world. And so last semester, I told my students their final assignment was to create an ad for a luxury brand using methodologies that we learned during the semester and using AI tools to create the actual video of the ad. So they would have to use, all the principles that I taught them about creative effectiveness and how do you create videos that are going to create an emotional link with the audience and drive change. So all those are like classic, marketing techniques. But then I asked them to learn AI, to learn video AI tools, and to be themselves, the director of the ads. And the final assignment was to create an actual ad, a 15-second ad that could be broadcast on YouTube or on TikTok.
Nice. That's
First
a good
day
assignment.
of this class, they had never touched an AI tool, a video generation tool in their lives. They knew ChatGPT, they knew of ChatGPT. Some of them knew about Copilot if they have during their internships or work, but they knew very little about AI. By the end, they all had an ad and they presented in front of a jury. So I invited someone from a big beauty company, someone from one of the biggest fashion brands in the US, someone from a big agency. So we had like a jury of professionals who didn't know the students. It was the first time they were meeting them. They looked at the ad. They all reached out to me after and they said, can you give me the contact of this and that group? Because we want to show the ad to our teams because it's so good. Yeah. It was insane. And those are not creative people. I'm talking about business students who come to study luxury marketing. And then by the end, they taught themselves how to create an ad like a professional director. That was
that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. And it's changing the boundary because obviously a branding agency, like a marketing agency, the big guys, right? Like they will charge, how much they will charge for 30-second, video?
Unlimited.
100,000?
It depends. If it's like a junior person that does it, it can be like a few tens of thousands. If it's like a celebrity director, it can be in the millions. And for now, I don't think, I'm not saying that AI is going to fully replace the agency.
No, of course not.
And do as good of a job. But I think what someone with very little experience and technical talent can do is impressive. And it's also
just as a brief,
it's
just
incredible.
at the brief level, like the creativity, just to see what's possible. No, I love that. I mean, it's crazy, and I love that you are bringing that to your students because that's one of my fears is that the education, like education is usually moving too slow. They will change the programs after 10 years. I think university and like business schools, etc., are faster to adopt changes. But like primary school and high school, sometimes they will say, "Oh, we have to change because now we use computer," right? But it's like we've been using them for 20 years. Teachers, professors like you, they need to make sure the young generation is embracing this technology right now because they're going to come to find a job and the job they learned at school is already either replaced or just someone with AI that has learned AI is doing 10 times more things than what they can do.
It's never been a best time to be a professor than today because I think that the mission of a professor has never been as relevant as it is today because today all the information in the world is available. Like the great library of Alexandria has been recreated. It's the internet. But now you can also query it via ChatGPT and ask questions and get answers. So whatever, like the actual knowledge is everywhere, easy to access from your pocket. Sometimes, most of the time it's free or very cheap and so on and so forth. The difference is that for me, teaching is not about filling the brains of your students with stuff.
Yeah.
Teaching is about igniting a fire in their soul.
Mm.
And in a world where you can access any piece of knowledge anytime for free, what will give you this spark? What will make
The
you
spark,
want
yeah.
to try? What will remove the fears in your mind? What will give you the courage or the curiosity to explore, to learn something new, to do something that you're very bad at first and become better at it? And I think that's why being a professor is being, this guide that's gonna, light the spark and even a little bit fan this spark into a flame in the minds of the students.
Okay, I love that. I love the spark, like creating the ignition in the mind of the people. Hey man, it's been great talking, and I think we're already at over time than what I usually do. So I want to end on like big notes and like some big prediction, bold prediction, something that is gonna get you in trouble maybe. So first thing, to come back on one of the topic, you're a solo founder right now, you are bootstrapped. So would you ever take VC money for Submarine? Yes or no? You don't have to make a long answer.
Why not? There is this French quote that says, never say, Fontaine, I will never drink your water, So we'll see, why not? I just see that I'm happy today to not having to, like, not needing external capital and, being free and independent in my endeavor. If at some point, I want to accelerate and need some external capital, there's no shame. I think I've been a VC, I worked in a VC fund prior, before Google. I created a startup before Google where I raised also VC money, and I was very happy with my VCs. I love them. They were great people, very, very smart. So I have nothing against it.
You worked at the VC as well, right?
And I worked at a VC. I've been on both sides of the table. I worked at a VC and I raised VC money in the past. It's just that right now, I'm trying this other path, and we'll see. Always open-minded.
Congrats on that. Maybe another one that is going to get you in trouble. One brand in the luxury space, so try to not name your customer, that is not prepared for the AI world. Do you have something like?
Interestingly enough, I think that the luxury world has something very unique to bring to the table in this AI world. I think, that a lot of non-luxury brands are going to become commoditized because of if you can create any kind of content and then tomorrow any kind of robot and then the day after tomorrow any kind of product, maybe the one thing that's going to become very hard for AI to reproduce is, the touch of a craftsman, something that's handmade, something that has a story. So I would say almost the opposite. I think most luxury brands, they're very well positioned in the AI era because their specialty is that they've learned how to create this deep emotional link with their audience, which is both because of the way they manufacture product with handmade and high quality materials, but also because of their marketing. If you think about champagne, what is champagne? Champagne is just, grape juice with marketing, so because it's sparkling grape juice with marketing.
I mean, some of them are very good grapes.
Some of them are very good, but why are you linking champagne with victory and celebrations and one,
yeah, that's marketing.
You drink a champagne, you imagine an
winning a race
from the Laponian Empire with a saber opening, sabering a champagne bottle. All this is great storytelling, great positioning, great branding, great marketing. And I think in the AI era, those qualities will be extremely helpful to luxury brands.
And do you think, so that's my last question, like, do you think France specifically, so French startups, ecosystem, French AI will need to look at how we build LVMH, for example, Empire, and reuse this type of craftsmanship or luxury marketing, how we were able to build such great brands from France and apply that to our tech and startup scene? Would you think that would be a good marriage, a good wedding of skill sets to make French tech go beyond what it is today, which is not too much?
Yeah, it's true. Like, how often do you hear about French AI startups in the US, not from French people, but from non-French people, Americans or other foreigners? How often? Never heard about Mistral from someone.
Say that, like our previous episode, we had the CTO of one drive-through automation startup, right? The CTO said that Mistral models were super good and he's using them mostly because they are small enough to be embedded into their product that are at the drive-through. So, but that was literally the first time I heard someone technical in the US using Mistral in production.
So that's great. Maybe things are changing. Maybe things are going to evolve.
Hopefully.
I think, that there's no shortage of talent in France. I mean, it's a small country compared to China, compared to India, compared even to the US. So, of course, it's not like we have millions and millions of engineers. We have
Yeah.
a small amount of engineers, but they're very good. They have a good reputation. We have some of the largest amount of field medals, like mathematics. It's the Mathematics Nobel Prize. So we have world-class mathematicians that have been created thanks to like a system that was created in the 19th century of like selecting the best of the best, educating them at the elite level. So I think there are a lot of great talent. I think that the founders of Mistral are some of the are world-class talents that would have done great as well in Silicon Valley. They would have done great in China. They are like some of the brightest minds. So I don't think there's a problem of talent or skill sets. I think that there is a problem of culture. You can feel it. There is a different culture when you're in the US and when you come back to France. There was Bernard Arnault,
That's
the
true.
richest man in France, who said when he was at the inauguration of the president in the US and then he went back to France and he said, like it's like a cold shower, like going from the US to France, it's like taking a cold shower because like what a change. In the US, they're saying we're going to lower the tax and open the gates to entrepreneurship and give you 500 billion. And now in France, have you seen the latest project? Now they want to tax on money you haven't made yet on
Yeah, from
your
startups.
BSPC from startups,
Yeah,
which is
from the
going to
stock
kill
options.
the
Yeah.
investment. This is going to kill the stock options in France. So I think there are a lot of bad political decisions that created a wrong culture. I think at the heart of the issue there's been some bad decision on energy, which is the root of all our issues is energy.
The
Economy is
nuclear
nothing else
specifically.
than transformed energy,
Yeah.
specifically in France, specifically in Europe. So bad decision, bad culture. But I think what's great is that the beauty in this world is that there's always hope. As long as there's life,
Yeah.
there's hope. I think we're just maybe a few good decisions away from totally changing the vibe in France and the culture. So I would say if, I don't know, 2 or 3 billionaires in France who are already doing a lot,
Hello, billionaires.
Hello, billionaires. If you're listening to us, please.
Yeah.
You're
There are
already
not
doing great. You're doing
there are
great.
not many.
You're great.
There are not many. So yeah.
There are not many, but the ones we have, and you're doing a good
Yeah.
job. I think what Bernard Arnault is doing with Vivatech, what Xavier Niel is doing with a lot of startups, with Kima, with Station F, and so on and so forth. But I would say more, like if we need you now, it's a crisis, there's no more money, like no hay plata, there's no more money anymore. So if, just a bunch of billionaires or maybe some centimillionaires, who they can join, we're not selective, few good investments. If we could maybe, politically speaking, have someone who, maybe who embodies the change, who sounds like someone that gives enthusiasm to everybody, who's not into dividing and so on and so forth. Maybe we're 5 to 10 good decisions away from totally reversing the course of France.
I love that.
I hope they will do it because else the situation is going to be terrible. The current path is very bad. Yeah. But there is always hope, and hopefully they will make, because we don't live there anymore, but they will make the right decisions soon.
Yeah, so no, just to finish on that, and that's the drop of this episode because it was AI in luxury. So I think for our French founders out there, especially the Clément Delong from Hugging Face, Arthur Mensch from Mistral, and all the other building great company like Florian from DataIQ, etc., meet with Bernard Arnault, the guy that is the best at building brands and building marketing and building luxury, because I'm pretty sure there is something to be done with the best luxury brands from France, not necessarily to build product together, but learn how did Louis Vuitton became such a great brand around the world, and how Mistral fucking logo is not used properly on the US TV, right? Like, why this could not be happening if we are the best people at building luxury.
It's Bernard Arnault and a few other people. We're lucky to have not just one Bernard Arnault. We
Yeah,
also have
exactly.
the Pinot. We also have the L'Oréal family, Hermès, the family in charge of Hermès, and so on and so forth. So of course Bernard Arnault is the biggest one and the most
it's the one I know the most. But
we might have 10, 10 or 15. That's great. We
Wow,
have 10 or 15 people who are world class in terms of brand building and business building. So we're asking them, save us, save France.
Yes,
bring some of your expertise. We love you.
Yeah.
We love we admire your success. We're not haters. We're not that's the old French mindset. Now the new French mindset. We love you. We admire you. Now help the country.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great drop. So David, thank you very much. It was a great episode. We went over, but I hope people are still listening, watching, and you know what you have to do. You follow, you subscribe, you comment, you share. You know the deal. This is the AI drop, and we see you in the next episode. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Angie.